Welcome to the Avanti Woman podcast. With each episode, each conversation, we aim to empower, connect, and build women to move forward, feel confident, and thrive in healthcare, finance, entrepreneurship, and philanthropy. We're glad you're here.
Hello to all the beautiful women out there and everyone else listening in. I'm Nairi, your host, here with my colleague, co-host Sarah Sitak, and welcome to the Avanti Woman podcast. Today we talk about the all-exciting topic, women and entrepreneurship. And what better expert to talk to than serial entrepreneur and coach, founder of Catalyst Coaching Solutions, Rayana Starre. An award-winning strategic business coach who's also certified in NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, Hypnotherapy, and Timeline Therapy. With a degree in psychology, Rayana has coached thousands of entrepreneurs and real estate investors for 22 years. Rayana has started up several of her own businesses and bootstrapped them to 6 to 7 figures, all on her own efforts, and coached hundreds of entrepreneurs to do the same. She's passionate about sharing her own experience in business and real estate to empower women entrepreneurs to succeed by leveraging proven processes and systems, technology, and other people's time and talent so you can do less and achieve more. She believes in working smarter, not harder, and inspires other women business owners to face their fears, fail forward, and learn and grow as you take action to build the life of your dreams. Rayana focuses on empowering your mindset, developing habits and routines centered on revenue-generating activities, and then providing support and accountability to help you succeed. She's not only crazy smart, she's also quite interesting. Rayana lived in Mexico for 4 years before moving across the country to find her happily ever after home in the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains of Asheville, North Carolina. She's an animal and nature lover and a proud dog mom with a huge heart who has rescued hundreds of dogs in her lifetime and at one point even owned a pet sitting and dog boarding business. Welcome, Rayana. We're so excited to have you on the show so you can share your expertise in entrepreneurship. Welcome.
Welcome,
Well,
Rayana.
Nairi, I really appreciate the introduction. That was very sweet of you. You sneaked in some of your own words. I like that.
I
and
did.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello, Rayana.
Nice
We're
to
so
be here with both of
excited.
you. I'm excited too.
It's so excited to reconnect with you in, 2016 to now? So we met at the Allison Maslin Entrepreneurship event in San Diego, right? It was like soul sistership at first sight.
Yes.
Rayana was very bubbly and outspoken, and she was the center of attention during that event.
Well, she's going to be the same at this podcast. So,
absolutely.
Rayana, you are the center of attention. Let's get started. I mean, tell us about entrepreneurship and
go ahead. What is an entrepreneur? Tell us about the science of entrepreneurship, Rayana.
Well, there's a really good book I'd like to recommend everybody read. And it's a quick read. It's something you could gobble up in a weekend. And it's a book called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And what I like about that book, and it's very inspiring to read if you're just starting out or you've been struggling a little bit, please read that book by Michael Gerber, The E-Myth.
E-Myth.
Yeah, and what it is the entrepreneurial myth. And what it is we serve 3 roles as entrepreneurs. We're the technician or the worker bee who makes the product or delivers the service. And then we move into that manager role where you start to duplicate yourself and you set up processes and systems to make things run better. And then ultimately the entrepreneur role in the business is the visionary who keeps the manager and the technician busy and is looking at where do we steer the ship? Where are we going next? You need all 3 roles in a business. A lot of times when people learn about this, they think that there's something wrong with being the technician but you need all three, because if you haven't mastered your craft and you're not delivering a good quality product or service, then the rest doesn't matter. Right. But here's what happens, especially with women entrepreneurs. They get stuck in being a solopreneur slave. And they suffer from the Wonder Woman complex. What do I mean by that? You're trying to be all things to all people. You're trying to be the perfect woman, wife, mother, daughter, sister, friend, boss, and on and on and on. And in society in the last few decades, a lot of pressure has been put on women to just keep up. And we have to be better than men to be paid the same. And even that's not a guarantee if you're in a corporate environment. If you're in your own business, great. But we always think we have to do all the helping, and we forget to get help, get support, and that you don't have to kill yourself. And I have, so it's really about, you can, as an entrepreneur, get further faster and easier by leveraging technology and other people's time and talent. And I think a lot of women either don't think they deserve to invest, or they think because they don't have a lot of money, they can't invest in their business. And I want to say, you can't afford not to. You have to invest in your business, because when you invest in a coach or mentors or experts, whatever it is, a marketing expert or someone who does the sales for you or whatever it is, it actually gets you there faster.
Absolutely.
When you're trying to save a dollar, save a dime by spending a dollar of your time, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
That's true. That's
Absolutely.
true. Well, yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
No, I was just going to say, why don't we get started? What made you want to follow the science of entrepreneur, or what made you want to become an entrepreneur yourself?
Well, my number one value is freedom. And
yes,
I have gone
we can
back
attest to that.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth and in working in corporate environments to learn, to grow. But I eventually get to a point where it's like, I gotta go, because I'll have ideas. I'm a problem solver. I'm able to see gaps and problems and find solutions. And it's frustrating when you're that kind of creative thinker and you have to have someone's permission, or you don't have enough credibility, you're just some peon, so they're not interested in your ideas. When I'm the boss lady, I have this thing my COO, Michael, gave me.
Oh, I love it.
What does it say? I'm not
bossy.
I am the boss.
That's right.
It says girl boss on the back. It's on my desk. And I laugh at that because he and I struggled for a while. I call him my partner, but I'm really the boss. And where things started to really shift and flow better for us is when we both just acknowledge, look, we're not partners. You're the boss. It's going to work better if you are the boss. And he's like, give me my box to operate in. Give me the timeline you need me to get things done. I will feel empowered, and it just works better when you're the boss. And probably a few years ago, I would have been like defensive about that, but I was smiling and going, well, yeah.
Yeah.
It does work better when I'm the boss.
Wow.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's very interesting. I have a hard time actually being called boss. In my company, I like to be, and I don't know what is the right thing, but just intrinsically, I like to be part of the team as a leader.
Democratic. And I am. I'm not a dominating boss, but it's more just a term of how we were relating to each other.
Right.
Now, here's another one that's kind of a cool thing. It's a little paperweight that I got from a girlfriend whose wedding I was in eons ago. And it says, Queen, a woman's sovereign, having eminence and supremacy over loyal subjects who adore her or else.
I love that.
I like that.
I like that.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
So I have a question, Rayana. So does someone become an entrepreneur I mean, can you learn to become an entrepreneur, or are you really born with that intrinsic God-given talent?
Can I just say, I think that's a very good point, because I think that's one of the myths, right?
Yeah.
So Rayana, I would love for you to share your expertise on that, because
Okay.
whenever this subject comes up among us ladies, some always say, well, I don't have that skill. I don't know. It's not in me. So what do you, the expert, Rayana, what do you say?
I crack up when you keep calling me the expert, but so I have kind of a double answer. Okay. So I think there are people that are born as entrepreneurs that
spirit,
things you need as an entrepreneur. You need to have a good, strong work ethic and be self-driven and be able to set your own structure and schedule and follow through and honor and have a strong level of integrity and accountability with yourself. Like, for example, and I wouldn't say overall that I would relate to myself or people that know me as a disciplined person, although maybe some people do, because I don't always see myself clearly. But when I want something bad enough, I'm very determined. So determination is my form of discipline. It trumps discipline and it empowers me more. I'm more empowered to be determined than I am disciplined. But a lot of where the weakness is for people that aren't built to be entrepreneurs is they aren't self-directed. They're waiting. They aren't able to hold themselves accountable to just showing up. And I coach a lot of entrepreneurs in small group programs and in one-on-one. And I say, look, your schedule's your boss. So let's get your schedule set up.
right?
And so a couple of weeks ago, I was tattling on myself, which I often do with my clients. And I said, look, I'm just because I'm a coach. I mean, I need this stuff. I practice what I preach. I need support. I need coaches. And I said, like last Monday, I didn't feel like working.
Right.
I've been very creative lately, pouring out a lot of stuff. And I just get to a point and I get in the zone, and that's my zone of brilliance, creating the programs and laying things out. And it's always based on what are our clients asking us for. And I didn't feel like working on Monday. And I just said, but guess what? I just got up and looked at the first thing I had to do, and I showed up for that. I didn't feel like it.
Right.
And then
discipline.
The next thing on my calendar, I just showed up for that. And you don't even have to get overwhelmed about it. It's just show up.
Right.
Just show up. So I think entrepreneurs are born, and I think people can learn. I think when someone who is a W-2 grinding little employee, which is the worst position financially to be in, by the way. There's a great book Robert Kiyosaki wrote, not Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It was the next book he wrote.
The one after,
Cash Flow Quadrant.
Right.
Created a game on it. And the 4 quadrants, W-2 employee is the worst place you can be. Solopreneur slave is the next worst, because you're trading time for dollars. But when you get over on the other side of the quadrant, business owner doesn't mean you're doing all the work. That's different from being a solopreneur slave, my term. I should trademark it. But being a business owner means other people are working for you. Like Nairi, you've been very good at this over the years, as we've checked in over the years and stuff, building this team that's doing it for you. And she still has admitted that like, I've got to let go of having to be involved so much, because that's where the freedom is it's making sure. There's another great book by Tim Ferriss called From Good to Great. And it's about the difference between a good company versus a great company. And it's not about some rock star like a Bill Gates or a Steve Jobs kind of thing. They're humble leaders that are in the back empowering their teams. And the real credit is when they're actually forgotten, that it was never about them and their personality. Right. So I'll just wrap up this point with this. I had a friend that just was always in awe, and kind of, I could tell she wanted her own business, but she didn't trust herself. She was always used to being an employee, didn't think she had the discipline, or, was intimidated and scared by the whole idea of it. People think it's a lot harder than it is. And she threw a sequence of events over the years. And I just kept saying, God, if you would only get just how much easier it would actually be for you to work. And she's a healer, a Reiki master, and does healing work. And I said, you would have to work a lot less if you had your own business. And she finally reached her limit in a couple of jobs and was kind of almost forced to go out on her own. And in a short period of time, within a month, she said, oh my God, Rayana, I had no idea how much freedom I would feel.
Yeah.
And, and she made a smooth transition because she brought clients with her, and she, just started setting it up. Now, is she going to be a rock star and build $1 million enterprise? No, she's in she's kind of pre-retirement years. She just wants to do enough to get by, but she was just surprised at how easy it was. So a lot of people will say being an entrepreneur is hard. I have found it harder to work in corporate America for other people, and I work more hours. I grind. I'm undervalued, underappreciated. I don't have as much credibility. I got laid off from a corporate job in about a year ago.
Oh, I was just going to ask you about that, actually.
About a year ago. And I knew it was coming, but I was prepared before the pandemic, because I was already like, I'm getting antsy. I'm feeling stuck and trapped. I'm solving all these problems, but I'm not getting to really go anywhere with it. And so when the pandemic hit, I just brought a bunch of clients with me that weren't, that wanted to keep working with me. So it was a really smooth transition, but it's been so much fun.
That's great.
And the reason I say boss, like that's a trigger word for a lot of women. I'm not boss, and I was using this term badass boss babes, and I wasn't really getting a big response on it. So I started like asking women in my Facebook group, like, tell me what this conjures up for you, this term. And there were different triggers, like badass has been used a lot. Boss and babe, people were triggered by babe. They were triggered by boss. I'm like, okay, I'm not using that term anymore, But for me, it's a very empowering term because I am very fair and democratic. But at some point, someone has to make the decision. This is why I don't enjoy working at jobs in corporate America, because it's like all these meetings and all these people and all these opinions. At some point, let's like make a decision and take some action.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So what I heard you say is entrepreneurs are born, but there are skills that you can attain to be an entrepreneur as well. So that's wonderful. And it gives a lot of hope to a lot of people. And it's nice to hear that, it really isn't overwhelming. And with coaching and mentoring, it's definitely an opportunity for many, many people, as long as you're wanting to kind of invest or to learn about it, I should say. But tell us a little about your organization, Catalyst Coaching. Tell us about it. Why did you want to focus on women? Why was that important for you?
Well, actually, Catalyst Coaching Solutions is the umbrella.
Okay.
We don't really talk a lot about that. It's like the LLC holding company in the background that everything operates under. I actually have 2 vertical markets that I serve and 2 brands. So there's actually 3 brands: Catalyst Coaching, which it's like just a placeholder. And then I have this niche, real estate investors, and our brand is the Unstoppable Real Estate Investor, because in that industry, there's a 95% failure rate.
Okay.
And so we're all about having an impact on that statistic, and with new investors, because that's a very difficult business and there's a huge learning curve. So our programs are designed to get newer investors and help them focus on developing habits and routines around revenue generating activities. And then on the women's side, what I've observed over the last couple of years, especially, but in my own life and the webinar and the link that you're going to share with people, is I created Permission to Thrive because I was watching a lot of other women coaches who started up Facebook groups. And there's some that are huge, that like there's some amazing women out there that have like started up some great groups, and they're in the hundreds of thousands of members. And yet no one's ever allowed to talk about their businesses in any of these groups. There's this no promote rule. And what the strategy has been, and I'm doing something differently, is you start up a Facebook group to attract your soulmate clients, ideal clients, soulmate clients, and then you sell your service, your product or service, but no one else gets to talk about their business. And I went, that's bullshit. I don't like that. I thought, I don't want to just sell my programs. I want to get to know the women in my group. I want to create community. So I do free trainings. I'm always experimenting, doing contests. I do a thing called Getting to Know You interviews, where it's just free publicity. I interview women in the group to showcase them. So I'm very generous with my time because women are overwhelmed and stressed out. We've taken on too much. Society has programmed us. Men are emasculated. Women are emasculated. We're expected to do everything. We'll do the same job.
And burnt out.
And burnt out. Work that a man, but then we come home, we're responsible for the house, the kids, the food, the this and that. It's like, whoa, this is not a good deal. Right. And women are burnt out, and we're being programmed to operate constantly in stress, constantly in overwhelm. It's not good for us. That cortisol, the inflammation it causes, the disease. But we get used to living like that, and being busy is an ego thing. Like, oh, well, I'm too busy. Oh, really? You're so important. But what women don't get is that comes with a price. You're missing out on living and loving life to keep up with the Joneses, to be Wonder Woman.
So Rayana, I know, you do so much. You have so much content. You have so many programs to help women entrepreneurs with their businesses, with the psychology of it, with, time management or whatever it is. Why don't you tell us your exactly, if I was a woman entrepreneur, new to entrepreneurship, starting my business, how can I seek your services? Or just break it into, 3 bullet points. What are the services that your 2 companies offer people like me, a new businesswoman, let's say?
Well, first, I think what you're also asking, and just correct me if I'm wrong, is what's my coaching philosophy and platform I come from?
Great.
And it's in either niche, this applies. My tagline is take action, no excuses, just results. And I'm just no nonsense. People are either very drawn to that or they're intimidated. Okay. And I'm okay with that because I'm authentic and I'm real and I'm transparent. And everything I do, I come from my own experience because I have credibility and I can have compassion and empathy for the people I work with. That's like, I know I was working with a guy that's really defeated and stuck because he really got screwed over big time in a real estate investment deal. I mean, these people that they were private money lenders to stole hundreds of thousands of dollars and never paid them back. They had to go to court. And this guy's been dragging that around for a couple of years, and it's rendered him inert. And we got on the phone the other day and just one brief conversation on mindset and giving him some work to do on it. And then we're going to do an NLP session where we remove limiting beliefs, not a Band-Aid on a broken leg. I said, look, what I mean by removing the limiting belief or the fear or whatever it is that's related to that experience that you're carrying around that's stopping you from moving forward, we're going to rip it up by the roots, and then we're going to throw it in the road in front of a Mack truck, and it is going to be annihilated. So mindset is a big piece. That's why I'm, certified in NLP, hypnotherapy, timeline therapy, and I'm always about the psychology of things. I love personality assessments and all that stuff. So mindset's huge in both my vertical markets. Mindset is everything.
Number one.
There. Yeah.
What's number 2?
Number two is habits and routines.
Yeah.
Taking action consistently enough. Practice it to master it. This is probably the hardest part for most people. Once we get them over their fear is doing it whether you feel like it or not. Or like one of our clients recently said, yeah, I just did it scared, Rayana. I got to do it scared. And it's like, once you start, it's about like anything, getting started is the hard part. But a habit or routine is a consistent behavior that happens automatically. It requires no effort or thought. And there's a couple of great books about habits. The first one is by Charles Duhigg, Duhigg, The Power of Habit. He's kind of the grandfather of habit. And it's an area that's been studied. And there's the anatomy of a habit, the trigger or the cue, the behavior, and then the reward. And so I do a lot of work on habits with people because with real estate investors and women entrepreneurs, in order to be successful, you have to focus on revenue generating activities and build habits around networking, building up who are the people you need in order to be successful in your business. And then marketing is, so many people just have such screwed up mindsets around what marketing is. All marketing is being more visible. That's it.
That's very true.
What gets complicated is all the ways you can do that and where you can do it and all that. And then the third thing is selling. A lot of women especially are kind of shy. And I think this whole thing of selling is transforming because there's a lot of other people like me out there transforming and coaching people on selling skills in a way that isn't hard sell. It's really a turnoff nowadays because sales skills have become so sophisticated that some amateur guy who's screwing on the pressure with you, it's just like, dude, you need to learn your skills because I never really have to sell. If you're marketing, if you're really targeting your soulmate client with your content, with your marketing, and you're just paying attention.
Well, I like that. Your soulmate client.
I do too. I like that.
Client.
Great.
If you're really targeting your marketing message and you're attracting leads that way, and they're really resonating with that, and you really dial that in, when you get on the phone with your soulmate client, and I interview people, we don't take clients just for money. We're not going to do that. I'm too experienced as a coach. I've had to work at companies where I coached anybody they put in front of me. And I made a promise to my COO and to me that we weren't going to do that in this business. We weren't going to just
That's wonderful.
People to get the money. And what that is it always starts with motivation. And I dig on motivation. I really, and it's like, I got to know that there's something you want so badly that you are going to do whatever it takes. And I'm going to remind you of it.
Right.
You know? Wow. So those are key. It's mindset, habits, and then support and accountability. It's someone there that's watching. It brings out the best of us. It brings out that we rise to the occasion when someone's watching. I'm the same way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If I may ask, we're coming up at our time.
20-minute mark.
And I wanted to ask, if you were to give one advice for women who are thinking of becoming an entrepreneur, what would that be?
I love this, and I want to let you guys steal my term for this.
Okay.
Use this.
We'll borrow it.
No, you can have it. We'll share it. As I say, what's your rooftop message?
Ooh.
Oh, I like that.
Or your mountaintop message that if you were to shout it from the rooftop for the whole world to hear it and heed it, what would that message be? And I would say the first thing for women entrepreneurs, and it's going to be more than one thing, is radical self-care. I want to give you permission to
I like that.
thrive. Permission to thrive. And in the webinar that they're going to include a link to,
yes,
it's about an hour long, this webinar. There's 5 strategies I share. First, let's reduce the overwhelm and stress and show you don't have to live there. Then let's commit to radical self-care as your top priority. And you may not really rate, yeah, that sounds like a luxury. But when you watch this webinar, I really argue the point on that radical self-care, there it is, Permission to Thrive. And they'll include a link somewhere that you gals can click on.
We will share this with everyone.
Yeah. Radical self-care is the notion that you have the responsibility to take care of yourself first before you take care of others. It's like when you go on a flight and you're preparing for takeoff and the flight attendants say, they give you their safety presentation and say, and when the oxygen masks drop, you put your oxygen mask on first, and then you help small children who accompany you. And the reason for that is if you're panicked about your own survival, you can't help anybody else.
That's so true.
Right.
It's the same thing here. Women need to know that you've got to put you first. And then the next strategy, so reduce overwhelm, radical self-care, is boundaries, saying no. And that is really easy to say, but very difficult to do, especially when you're in relationship dynamics where someone has a little more power than you, or you're intimidated and you're a people pleaser and a martyr and a codependent, and you don't want to disappoint people. But what I mean by that is, if you're really overwhelmed and stressed out, what makes it to your to-do list is, what are your values and priorities? What's important to you? Stop letting other people distract and detour and demand, because ladies, your time is precious. Don't throw pearl among swine. Don't let people steal it. Don't squander it. And then the last two strategies are the power of small action plan. One little small action at a time. You focus on that, practice it to master it until it becomes automatic. And then the last is hire experts to help you. And that's the message I would leave with people is, if you're going to start a business, it's not a business when you put out a shingle because you have a product or service. There's operations, there's sales, there's marketing.
I love that.
You have to have a budget. You have to invest. You have to plan for that.
So Rayana, this is all great. And, as we spoke off the podcast, you have so much content. You've done so much in the past 22 years. You have so many classes and, subjects that you can teach on. So we'd love to invite you again and actually create maybe even a series. So let's assume that we're launching the next 3 series with Rayana Starre, and helping women entrepreneurs or, entrepreneurial minded women to leave the corporate world and start their own businesses. So what would, just very short, would those...
I can elaborate.
I know, just short to the point. What would those 3 episodes be? Just off the top of your head. Mindset,
habits, and accountability.
Beautiful. Like that. So we look forward to that, ladies, right?
I would love to do that.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited.
Very excited.
I agree. These are wonderful points. So we said mindset, habit, and accountability.
Yeah, and in there, I those are chunked way up, but in there's a lot of material for each one of those areas that would get more up close and personal for people to relate. Like, I coach a lot of people on fear, failure, and frustration, and just talking about that to give people a little more freedom about those things that everyone's terrified about. It's like, you are going to fail.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. Yeah. I think this is going to be a very nice and extremely informative set of series of podcasts. So
absolutely.
I really encourage everyone to hear it. I mean, as a fellow entrepreneur, I agree. I think you gave some wonderful nuggets of information and something that we can learn from and hold on to and build on and empower all the other fellow female entrepreneurs out there.
Absolutely. So Rayana, can you share with us, with our audience, how can someone reach out to you?
Sure. I can give you, they're going to share that link, and I'd really like to encourage women to watch that webinar and read that landing page, because it'll give you a lot of information. But I can also give you a link to my calendar. People could schedule a connection call. And I'm not shy. No one's ever abused this. I can outright just give you my phone number. And
yes, please go ahead.
It's 858-888-6763. We do small group programs that are very intimate, anywhere from 8 to 12 people, because we want to give people a lot of attention and customize and personalize the programs. The Permission to Thrive program for women entrepreneurs is a 6-month program, and they're in little Thrive circles of 8 to 12 women. And we also do one-on-one coaching. So we do
awesome.
That's great.
Coaching, one-on-one coaching. Yeah.
Sarah, any words?
No, I just recommend, this was wonderful. I just recommend everyone listening in on the next set of series. I think it's going to be really informative, and I agree with it. So Rayana, thank you very much for joining us. I'm thrilled.
Well, thanks.
I love it. Thank you, Rayana. I mean, empowered women empowering other women. I love this. So we
Facebook group is
yes,
empowering women entrepreneurs to succeed in business. So if you go on Facebook and you want to be part of my community, we do a lot of cool things. I do free trainings every week on just marketing and social media. I'm very prolific with the content. I'm posting constantly in my group and about 100 other groups every single day. And, I just want to help.
So that's, again, what's the name of the group? Empowering Women?
Empowering Women Entrepreneurs to succeed in business.
Empowering Women Entrepreneurs to succeed in business. So
on Facebook.
Facebook. And we really look forward to what we can create together. The next few series coming up with Rayana Starre, the star of entrepreneurship, right? And thank you, everyone, for tuning in, for listening. Please visit our YouTube channel to watch this episode on YouTube or all Apple Podcast channels. And yes, this is the Avanti Woman, where we empower, connect, and build. Till next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today. For more engagement, you can find us at The Avanti Woman on all social and media platforms. Follow us on Instagram, join our community group on Facebook to chat, subscribe to our YouTube for our latest videos. You can rate us 5 stars on Spotify and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Thank you for helping us reach even more Avanti women just like you.